worldview, or even let's say the biblical worldview, is this idea that you should use some of those natural resources to your benefit. But maybe we've lost a bit of that stewardship idea that you can't just take, right? There has to be some sort of balance, and you also should take care of things as well, right? And that's kind of sort of how this impacts how you interact with the world. Stewardship is another concept that your curriculum, they kind of want you to be aware of and educate yourself. So stewardship, just defined by your textbook, is the obligation to maintain resources in a sustainable manner. Okay, but as you get into deeper understanding, so Merriam-Webster, the conducting, supervising, managing of something, especially the careful and responsible management of something entrusted to one's care, right? So it kind of expands on how you're supposed to take care of it, right? Is there any real emotion involved in that definition from the textbook? Do you think there's any human emotion, kind of humanness to that response? That the obligation to maintain resources in a sustainable manner, right? Does that seem very human to you? It seems very task-oriented. Oh, it's my job to do this, to make sure that there's something left for tomorrow, right? Whereas as you get into the deeper understanding, so supervising, conducting, managing, careful, responsible, right? To be caring of, let's say, the animals you have. So, some other kids in the school, they deal a lot more closely with animals, and they're very concerned with their animal, their livestock, their investment, right? And perhaps treating it well, or making sure that you're responsibly taking care of them, because, and maybe we've lost that idea of well, it's still a life. So let's say you mismanage your cows, your goats, and one of them dies. You better yet, I'll ask, well, how does when a goat dies, how does that impact you? How does that feel? Do you own goats?
No.
Where did you deal with them?
Well, I've been to one of my a couple years ago. I've been to one of my friend's farms.
Okay.
And they had a lot of animals.
So if one of those animals died, how do you think they'd feel?
Look, they probably.
So you grabbing your heart, they care, right?
They probably care. They're probably gonna be sad because it's their goats. They were connected to them. Me, I don't know. I might, but I don't know if I really would, because they're not my animals. So it's well, it's dead. Okay. But if it was a cat or a dog, then I care. I care a lot about cats and dogs. I owned chickens before.
So if a chicken died, you wouldn't care?
No, I would.
Okay, so it's more about if it's in your possession, right?
Yeah.
If it's under your care.
It's I don't care if someone else is. Yeah, maybe I'll feel a little bit, but I don't care at all. I don't care what happens.
Maybe it's because you don't feel, do you feel, if, let's say you and I both have goats, and my goat dies, and you don't care. Do you think it's because that goat wasn't under your responsibility?
Yeah, so I didn't really do anything.
The blame's not yours,
Yeah.
right? Which is fair to say.
I'm not guilty.
Right? It's that's someone else's mistake.
Yeah.
But if you made the mistake and some of your chickens died, that might change how you deal with your chickens next time, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
I couldn't care less if, say, a cow or a chicken died. It's indifferent. It happens all the time. But if my dog or my cat, they die, I'm emotionally attached to those animals. I'll feel for them, not.
Yeah.
Hey.
So when I say a death, I don't just mean for food, right? Because obviously slaughtering an animal for food is very different than uh-oh, forgot to close the barn gate, something got into the barn and killed all my animals, stupid mistake. I'm trying to distinguish here, right? When it's time to slaughter the cow, it's time to slaughter the cow, right? And that's kind of where that potentially the hierarchy of the unity, hey, we're all sentient beings, we all have a purpose, right? The Bible kind of makes that purpose a little bit more clear for animals, but You know, like have you ever seen Avatar? Like the blue people, right? Like what happens when they kill an animal? Why are you saying
say
that?
something.
They say a prayer, right?
Yeah.
Which is, you know, like in the Christian teachings, like there is also to some extent a prayer, right, to be said, right, before you eat. Out of curiosity, how many of you pray before you eat? Even I don't do that.
My mom.
Well, no, like every time you have a meal, right? Like, right? What does that prayer do for you? I like.
No.
Do you two want to share?
Makes me feel more grateful.
Makes you feel more grateful? I think you said you prayed.
You said choke on.
In case that animal comes back with a vengeance to choke you on your food.
Two things. Like one, I don't think I did ever pray at dinner, cause like we're not Catholic, but like when I went to a friend like years ago, they went to a friend's house. They were really strictly Catholic, so I think they pray, cause like similar to what you said, like you're kind of blessing the animal you killed it, now you're thanking it for the food that it provided you instead of just killing it and just like.
And
well,
then
now
you're also
dead.
thanking the creator of all things as well,
Yeah,
right? Which is
and-
kind of what's represented in the
And
movie,
if a
which is
farmer, if like because they're gonna slaughter the animals anyways, so they can't really care that much about them. And I feel like the only reason why they'd be sad if their cow died or like one of their animals is like either they were attached to it or like they're not gonna get money out of it anymore because they can't sell their dead cow.
yeah, absolutely, right? Like money is definitely involved, but again, when you're responsible, like how many of you ever babysat a kid or a sibling? Okay, like how would you feel if that kid died on your watch?
Well, I'd be
I
terrified.
panic.
You'd panic, to say the least. You'd panic.
Your parents would kill you.
Your parents might want you dead as well, right? No way. Oh, that's on camera, man. Chuck it out in the garbage. Oh my God. Okay.
I mean, yeah, like I did have chickens, but like it's not like I'm gonna be as emotional if they died as if like one of those commonly domesticated animals are like cats and dogs or like my hedgehog, for example.
Mhm. You guys are giving me a good example, good thing to like. You ever seen those billboards where like it's by vegans, right? And it has like a bunch of animals, a cat, a dog, maybe like a parrot, and then like they draw a line and they have like a horse, a chicken, a pig. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, where do you draw the line? Right?
Yeah.
Like some people only care about cats and dogs and they think those are animals. Those are like really domesticated creatures. They're just like little.
Keep a horse in your room.
You could. You're.
But you can't.
No. Let's go back to that previous example. Like, let's say you're taking care of someone, you're babysitting them, and under your care, responsibility, your watch, I don't know, they break their arm. Like, how would you feel about that, right?
Yeah, no,
Hooray.
terrible.
Like, you're responsible for this person, and under your supervision, they did something, they got themselves hurt. Maybe you were involved in it, and now they have a broken limb, right?
That's dead. That's dead.
I was gonna say I panic, but like if I told them not to do it like several times and they still did it, it's their fault.
Yeah.
So.
Tell the parents. Recording that.
You had your hand up for a while.
If it's somebody else's kid, boo. If it's my brother, he deserves it. All of it.
Just like the
Wow.
the non-stop like questionable responses, man. Come on, dude. Okay. Like
I would not.
okay, so another thing with spirituality and religion is, you know, this idea of guilt, shame. You know, like for whatever reason humans feel guilt and shame. Right? So something happens under your watch. Like, yeah, it's easy to sit in class while you're bored, falling asleep in social studies, be like, let's say something fun, right? Throw them in the trash, right? Boo, yay. But if it legitimately happened, like, do you think you'd feel guilt?
Yeah.
Right? Do you think you'd feel a little ashamed, like, oh my God, like I was supposed to watch this kid, like, now he's dead, or like severely hurt?
Okay, if he's dead, yes, but hurt.
Walk it off.
I told him not to do.
Okay. Do you have your hand up as well?
If like someone else goes through them, it's not like in my family or whatever, you know, I don't really care at all. I don't even care if they die, you know, they're not even, I don't know,
Let's enough with the sociopathy.
Like, if it's like one of my family members, like my brother or something, I would feel bad, like, even if I had nothing to do with it, I would, cause I think deeply into things on how they felt when it happened, or how they feel currently with their broken arm, so.
I guess it really depends, like, if the kid was severely hurt, like, if you were to, like, actually watch them, and, like, as soon as they, like, break their arm, then I guess you would, like, feel bad, cause, like, it's kinda your fault, right? Like, you just watch them, and you wouldn't, like, come to help them, right? But if, like, they do it, and you weren't really watching, and, like, you tell them not to in the first place, then, like, what's the problem?
Okay. What if you were scrolling TikTok or like sending a snap and like you
And
see in
you
the
see
corner
the
of your
kid-
snap in the background the
In the
kid's
back?
doing
Oh,
something
like
they
that.
shouldn't, right? Like they're hungry, you're like, man, go away, like I'm on my TikTok, and they're trying to open the fridge and you're sending a snap and you see the fridge tip over and like now you got pancake,
But,
right?
like, it depends. Cause, like,
Right. It depends on
yeah, cause like the way I watch my cousins, I always like look at them, but then I always go on my phone, and then I would check on them from time to time, and whenever I see them like doing something dangerous, I tell them no, and then they would usually back off, but if I don't, then I would feel bad
mhm.
and take the blame.
Right, and that's kind of like, you know,